A beloved teacher and a mother disappears into the shadows. The truth emerges, and it's not just murder, but a horrific act of disembodiment. Body parts strewn across remote roads of Limpopo, leaving her family with no full body to bury, no funeral, no closure. This is the brutal truth of the murder of Precious Makhabane. Before we begin, I want to emphasize that this story is shared with utmost respect to the victim and their loved ones. Every story I share comes from a place of empathy because these aren't just crimes or statistics, these are lives and families. So, my goal is to bring awareness, not to sensationalize or entertain, but to make sure that their stories are never forgotten. By the way, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for viewing also. We may begin. Precious Makhabane was a 33-year-old educator and mother. She taught at Kabishi Primary School in Mashatomane village outside Beggarsford in the Limpopo province. She was a mother. She was the center of her kids' life. She also served as a teacher in a rural community where she lived. Her kids lived back at her home with her parents. She was teaching in a village school, so that meant early mornings, dusty roads, small classrooms, but big dreams. To the villagers, she was the beacon of hope, a sign that education mattered so much that someone from another township could choose to serve in their rural areas. And she was originally not from their village, but from a township in Beggarsford. She was a very humble and an important person in her community. So you can imagine when someone like Precious is taken away, it's not just one life lost, it's a loss of potential and hope, and a family loses a loved ones, and students lose their mentor. Mashamotane village, modest houses, narrow roads, grazing fields, mountains in close range. The place seems like danger is distant. You can almost hear the school bell and children's laughter. Beneath the surface, shadows, horrible shadows can grow. Precious was in a romantic relationship with Ashan Frez Chima. Ashan was a foreign national in the country, most probably from Pakistan. On 23rd December 2018, Precious phoned her parents saying that she was going to a church service and after that she would drive home as it was about to be Christmas. She was supposed to be home at that time. The day ended. The parents didn't hear from her. Thinking that she was held up somewhere, the parents assumed that she would show up the next morning, the 24th. Next morning, they tried contacting her. She didn't answer, but she sent a text message saying that she wouldn't be coming home. She was spending Christmas with her friends, or at least a text message was sent from her phone. Disturbed, the parents let it go because she was an adult. But they were upset that she didn't make it home and the kids were expecting her. I mean, it was Christmas. Weeks passed and she did not come home and she was not communicating. And at the text message, she had said that she was out on a vacation with her friends. So, assuming that she was still on holiday, the family let it go and thought that once the schools open, they would go to the school that she taught and they would confront her there about her disappearance. While schools opened, Precious's sister went to the school to look for her. But at the school, she was told that Precious never came back to school after the holidays. Now they were incredibly alarmed because it was unlike Precious to just disappear. She had not come home and now she did not come to work. It was now getting scary. The family now alerted authorities and a missing persons report was filed and investigations commenced. Precious was missing and her family grew desperate. They had went to hospitals, went to mortuaries and everywhere. Still there was no trace of her. But they still had hope that she might be found alive and she might be injured but alive. But reality was far worse than that. The investigating officers of the case took Ashan, the boyfriend, for questioning as procedure. And from their questioning, they held him as a suspect. Panicking, Raza Ali, a friend of Ashan, turned state witness. He had confessed that Ashan phoned him on the 23rd of December and told him that he and Precious were at her home in Tubase and they had an argument that day, and then Ashan stabbed Precious. He stabbed her and then he separated her limbs and head from her body. He then contacted the friend Ali and told him to come over and bring 5 refuse bags. He dismembered the body and then he drove around disposing the body parts that he had placed in the different bags at the road of Leidenberg mountain range. Then he told the friend to now come and help him bury the head at a sports ground in Mashefani Park. And then the friend said that he then told him that should he ever tell anyone about this, he was going to end up like the one they were burying. So he shut up. This wasn't only murder, but it was a brutal, horrible act meant to hide identity, deny dignity, and scatter memory. Ali then led the police to where the head was, as he was present when the head was buried. But he could not tell where the other body parts were because he was not present when he was disposing of all the other parts. So indeed, the police recovered the head. Now the head was taken to a mortuary in Leboa, Khomo. The family refused to bury a head. They wanted some other parts to be found too, so they said they would wait until the other body parts are recovered. They went about to just bury half a quarter of the body. The police still searched for the remaining body parts, but they never found them because Ashan was not cooperating. Even after he was exposed, he was not cooperating. He was charged and sentenced to life in prison for murder. And he was charged with 5 years of disembodiment and defeating the ends of justice and 2 more years of theft. And Ali, the friend, was never arrested. Since turning state witness, he was released. Months went by and the other body parts were never found. And then the family resorted to finally burying the head. But when they went to fetch it from the mortuary, it had disappeared. The family could not retrieve it or bury it. No one seemed to know where the head is. And this was yet another shocker and tragedy to the family. She was now a spirit not resting in peace. The family had no closure and had no full detail of her death or her remaining body parts. The family could not have a funeral anymore, so they made a memorial service in honor of her. The family tried to open a case, tried to follow up on the missing head, because how could it just disappear under a government mortuary? This was just all too much. Precious's body was never fully recovered. Larger parts of her body are still missing. Precious's head went missing from a government mortuary. Precious's story is one that leaves you lost for words. May her precious soul rest in peace, and may her family find healing and peace and closure in time. And may her story continue to remind us of the importance of awareness and compassion and justice. Thank you so much for watching and for remembering her. Lastly, please help spread awareness by liking and sharing, and also comment if you have anything to suggest, any case to suggest that I should cover, or if you'd like to add or ask anything about this case. I'll see you on the next one.